What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we're going to be talking none other than asking this question. Is this meta healthy? Is this a very diverse meta? Is this everything we hope for? So let's find out. Leave it down in the comments what you think of this meta, and hopefully we incite and have some great value here. So without further ado, let's dive into the video and talk about it. So, first off, let's ask what I think a healthy meta is. This was from a while ago with Pokemon Beach and stuff like that. A healthy meta for me means it's not really a single deck that outshines everyone else, but rather there's like 3 to 5 absolute top decks that, if played intelligently, have good odds of defeating the other decks. So, that was really a big thing for me back when I was playing like Yu-Gi-Oh! That I played during the format where it was Shaddolls, Satellars, Cleefhorts, Heroes, all the good 9-yard stuff. There was always variety in there, and it was probably, to me, what would be the most healthiest format for Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of other players will probably say, no, that's not how I want to play it. I like having that. I know this is the deck I need to beat, so I will make counter strategies in my list to counter that. So that's kind of where some people actually stand with their decks, is that, hey, I want to be able to know XYZ so I can counter XYZ. Not that having 5 different decks go like, okay, well, I mean, I can't pick between all of them. It's really tough sometimes, but that also is a very testament of player skill, especially knowing what decks to do, XYZ to go against, and how you're going to play about it is really important. So let's really look at the Gen Con's top end. We have roughly 80 decks to look at. I did not add the online best of one format. That would have added a little more skewed data, and I don't like messing with that kind of skewed data. But we have Magna Groom X at 19 wins at 23.8% of the meta. Same with Alphamon with 18 wins at 22.5% of the meta. So we know that kind of you can expect Magna Groom X and Alphamon to be the top dogs this format. We kind of know that. But we do have a lot of other decks that are just creeping up slowly behind it, and that's fine. We have some at 3%, 4%, we got a 5%, 6%, 7%, and then we're at 10% here. It means that people are playing Magna Groom and Alphamon because they already assume it's the best deck in format. So when you assume decks are best deck in format, you expect them to see more and more competitive play. What I don't like about this format is that it's very OTK centric. It is basically every deck does the same exact thing for the end goal. That's not what you should be doing in any format, in capacity of any deck building abilities. That is going to cause more issues than it's going to do value. And that's really something to really look at, and I'm nervous on how that's going to pan out going forwards. And that's really going to really be a testament. This format in Japan was one of those few formats that people started quitting in because they don't like having every deck be the same thing with an end goal of every deck being the same. I mean, if the end board looks the same and it's slightly variants differently because your top end does something a little differently, it's the same deck, just doing the same ridiculous BS as everybody else. So just stuff to look at like that. You got Black War Greymon here. This deck started topping recently more and more because people are starting to realize how to pilot it. But let's be honest with you, it's just a different top end playing the same War Greymon strategy. They're all trying to get that extra 5 security checks, 1 swing, get it out of here. I mean, War Greymon at least pushes it back to your turn. X Antibody tries to push it back to your turn, so that's really helpful. But outside of that, you do not have anything crazy here. I mean, like Gaiomon here being Gaiomon, security plus reboot plus the Digievolution and Blitz. That's really what you're trying to go there and do. You're going to get a bunch of security checks, go in and call it a day. I mean, there is potentials here. There's always potentials, but the bottom end is basically the same. same amount of you're searching, you're going to be doing the same thing. Security checks are about the same. If you look at it, they're just basically the same shell with slightly different top ends and bottom ends. I mean, come on. Like, you can definitely tell they're basically cookie-cuttered, same deck, playing the same strategy. I mean, we do have decks like Magna Mon, aka Armor Rush. This deck is basically using Fire Rocket with armor texture to swap in and out. They're going to be OTKing in a way, or applying pressure, and then end with a board that can semi-protect itself from your opponent's threats. So, I mean, there are potentials like that, and it's very valuable. You know, we have Bellastar here. That deck topped recently over that weekend. You know, it's same thing. It's going to OTK because it uses blast mode after you mill a bunch of cards to go, I'm going to clear out everything. And that's kind of how the idea behind this deck is. It's always going to try to OTK you. I mean, this is where issues come in, especially we take a look at red ancient Greymons and stuff like that. This deck is build a stack and raising, pull it out, 7 checks, blitz omni game. I mean, OTK at its finest, and it's just going to do what it wants to do. There's no limitations on what this deck can do. And then we do have, like, Mother D Reaper, where people are saying, ban this deck, this deck is toxic. Well, I mean, I get it, but the deck is consistent. Your deck isn't. That's the big difference. Searcher always comes in for 1, draw. It's going to memory choke you. That's what, it's basically Rookie Rush, but Searcher can't swing at you. What do you want from it? It's going to do what it's going to do because there's no value of not doing this. So it's really important to look at the meta as a whole. I mean, yes, Gatekeeper is a toxic card. Do I not disagree? No. Because if you hit this Gatekeeper at any point in the game, you already lost 1 attack. This thing's now a 10k body on board, if not bigger, that's going to answer everything you do. So just think about this. There's just not enough lines of plays to stop Reaper. And I get that. We have only like Psychmon in the format. But if you give it the trial deck time, this deck will fade out because then there's 3 color decks that can actually play a Psychmon variant. There's a black, red, and purple Psychmon in the format. Now this deck has 3 Achilles heels that it can't always answer. Will it adapt? Probably. Will it evolve? Maybe. But give it time, this deck will disappear. Then we get into our mid-range strategies here. I mean, we only have a couple of these because control is such a weird jank in this format because of how pressure everything is. There's a lot of protection. There's a lot of I get out of X, Y, Z here. You know, you got Chaos Degradation, placing one of your Digimon face down at the top of your... Place one of your opponent's Digimon's face down at the top or bottom of their security stack. If you do, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. Really useful, very powerful. I mean, Flame Hell Scythes, you know, Chaos mode to pop Tamers or Digimon with levels. I mean, this deck is going to do what it's going to do best. I mean, even a Flame Hell Scythe into an OTK, I mean, is really a pain in the rear because Angelwomon minusing 2 security checks instantly from that Flame Hell Scythe really does a damage. I mean, Mastamon's a problem, Zort defeats. I mean, crazy powerful all around. And then we get into, like, Green Hybrid that came out from the last format. And, I mean, you get, like, Rapidmon to minusing DP. I mean, Ancient Beetle is going to still do Ancient Beetle stuff. So once you start swinging into their boss Digimon, you start removing it. What do they really have there? Because then you're trashing out their security. You probably are bigger in most instances. And then your opponent's just going like, well, I can't deal with this. Well, that's how the fate rolls on that one. And you're going to always be dealing with that. So it's just how this deck is going to pan out. It's really strong. It's going to start adapting probably. We'll see it more and more a little bit. And then we got like security control. We got options for days where people swing into it and they hit it and then they're going to have to answer it. So, I mean, while having all these options is great, if your opponent can grind you out or hit you for way too many securities before it matters anymore, that's going to be a problem for you. So, stuff like that is very important. I mean, we have Bellastar. This is the only one that topped all weekend. I mean, being able to use its options correctly, timing everything. You don't have recovery. It's 5 security, and you hope that they're all bullets. And that's really a problem with this deck. But you also do have ways of coming back, because Bellastar will bring your options back, be able to remove threats, get them off the board, stuff like that that can really do some damage. I mean, we have Commandramon, more of a aggro-based deck with a little bit of control to help its security that you hope that you have some bombs in. You know, that's really going to help you out, extend your plays, get you going. I mean, Commandramon's just going to apply pressure after pressure. So, I mean, having Death X also in this format really hurts people that are just trying to slowly build, because a well-timed Death X can really move decks from left to right. I mean, it's all about timing. We have another OTK deck. This deck is not going anywhere, but it uses like Leomon to help. If it gets popped, helps you go the distance, you know, gets you that little extra oomph and health protect you. It's really useful. I think this is very powerful. You know, blue hybrid coming back from the grave after being hit with its Tommy. You know, you got Korikaku with Tommy, but this deck is just Magna Groom on OTK, because every time you add, he gets a restand, he's going to apply more pressure, he's going to do all the shenanigans that your opponent doesn't want you to do. And that's really important to notice. So, stuff like that. And then you have Grandis, Quagga, that's basically swinging in for a bunch of security checks, restanding himself, swinging in again. Really in problem deck, basically. But it's stuff like this that you need to pay attention to. You know, I mean, it's adapting to try to handle option-heavy turns, so that's just really useful. I mean, look at this deck here. You have, like, Durogreymon, you know, Alphamon Oryukin mode. Basically puts in the number of Durogreymons and has an Oryukin, restand, swing in multiple times. I mean, if you look at it, this is basically centrically what you're going to be seeing. 4 Cool Boy, 3 Yuji, 1 Coda. That's just basics here. So nothing too crazy out of sight there, but, you know. And then you get, you know, where Garurumon basically restand itself multiple times with security, with protection. Hopefully they don't have options to kind of ruin your day. But if there's no options, this deck kind of just goes off and goes hard. I mean, there's just not many times this deck can't just go, I win, and just how I'm going to go about it. So guys, what did you guys think of this format? I don't think this is a healthy format yet. I think next format's going to just make it a little more problems, and I think it won't get healthy until either the restrictions hit it and then we get to EX3. I think that's where we're going to see some benefits and reward for play. So guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!